This is Mark and Linda Wardell coming to you from the Freedom and Virtue Institute, and today we'd like to show you how to make another type of basket. These baskets are for the slightly more advanced children than the previous one that we showed you, which was a real beginner's one for perhaps 4th, 5th and 6th grade. Now we're talking more 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade students, and on the catalog you can buy this kit that we're going to show you today that can make probably 5 or 6 different baskets, and it's called a kid's sampler set. So basically it's not a real difficult weave, but it does introduce you to the next level. And we'll show you some baskets that came in the kit. Ms. Linda, which base are you going to use today?
We're going to use this round one.
Okay, a round one today, but there are different shapes. I'll show you those in close-up with the camera in a moment. But there's one thing when you're using reeds that you need to get started as quickly as possible. So before I introduce the kit and tell you where to purchase it and how much it is and all that good thing, Miss Linda's got to soak these reeds in water. They need to be soaked for about 20 minutes. So what are these pieces here and what is this? And then let's get them in the water and then explain the instructions and things.
Well, as you can see, the base has holes in it. That is where our spokes are going to go.
Let's see those holes a bit close up. Yes, thank you.
No, we're going to put our spokes through there. Now the spokes are pieces of the reed, of this reed, 10 inches long. So I've cut enough for the holes, but they have to go in the water for 20 minutes so that they can be bent and will not snap.
So Ms. Linda, what is your very elaborate bowl here that you're using for soaking?
I'm just using my kitchen sink.
Alright, so you've put some water in the kitchen sink, and do you have anything else to soak?
I have the roll of reeds, and this is what will be woven around the outside to form the basket. They have to go in too.
Alright, so into the water they go. Push them down, make sure they're well submersed, or as much as they will, and then just let them soak there for 20 minutes. Okay, so while they're soaking, let me just show you the kit that we purchased from Amazon. And here it is. I'm going to put this up in better detail. We'll make a PDF of this and put it on the video. But as you can see, it's the kids sampler basket set for beginners, and it makes 5 or 6 different baskets. It comes with instructions, and here's the instruction sheet. You can't see them very well in this view, but I will put them up on as a PDF for better viewing. It comes with some wooden bases. There's a round one we're going to use today, a square one, an oblong one, or spherical, oval one. And it also comes with some beads, and I'll show you a basket we've made which uses beads, but you can be creative and use them any way you like. And here are some baskets that we've already made from this kit. So we've made this one here that has a handle. We've made this one on an oblong base that actually doesn't have holes in the base. It has a slot in here, and you put the reed into the slot about 1/4 of an inch and then bend it up around, and it makes a nice basket. Here's the one that's made with the beads, and as you can see, we've put a row of beads around these about halfway up, and it also has a round base on it. And the last one we've done is a kind of a Valentine's basket, heart shaped, and so we've made these 1, 2, 3, 4 baskets already, and we're about to make a 5th one, and then 6th and 7. This will make about 7 baskets. All right, now there's one other thing you may want to purchase, but you don't have to, and that is this tool set. It comes from Amazon also. It's called the Commonwealth Manufacturing Company Basketry Tool Set, and but you know, you could just use scissors. You don't need this. We do use it a little bit, and again, here's what it's called. It's from Amazon.com, and it's called the Commonwealth Basketry Tool Set, and it comes with these items. And as you can see here, when I purchased it, it was $17.88. And by the way, this sampler basket kit was $25.65 when I purchased it. It could be more now because we've had it a year or so. Alright, so while these are soaking, I'm going to turn the video off, and we'll come back in about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, when the reeds are ready to start weaving this round basket that we're going to do with sides that go out a little bit. They're not vertical from the board, but they will go out on a bit of an angle. So that's what we're making today. So you can purchase this basket making kit from Amazon, but it's made by www.basketweaving.com, and you can go on that website and get all kinds of different baskets, and you can buy different basket weaving kits from Amazon. So we'll be back just about 15 minutes when these reeds have soaked up enough water to make them more pliable so that they're easier to work with while you are weaving the basket. See you in a bit. Well, welcome back. We're about to take the reeds out of the water. They've been soaking for 20 minutes. So, Miss Linda, what are you going to do first here?
Well, take them out of the water. Just going to put them on there to get the excess off. Now, each reed is going to be threaded through these holes, and they're going to come through about 2 inches.
Alright, so the reeds, each reed is put through the hole to a length of 2 inches on the back side, on the back of the round wooden base for this particular basket. And that is because they're going to be woven on the back together, and they need that length of reed to put the underneath weave in. I'll show you on this other basket that we have already made, the bottom, how the bottom is woven. So that's what it's going to look like on the bottom of this basket here in a moment, as Miss Linda just completes putting all of the reeds in all of the holes, 2 inches.
There we are, that one's a little long.
And we're not measuring them all.
Alright, now this is what we're going to do. Each one, otherwise our basket's going to fall apart. We're going to take them, right, let me turn it around, to the outside of its neighbouring spoke.
Going anti-clockwise.
And then
under the
inside.
other.
So I'm weaving in and out. Then I'm going to move to the next one and do exactly the same thing.
Alright, so she's taking, if you're looking at it from Miss Linda's perspective, from the front of the basket, she's going to start with a reed on the left hand side, weave it over its neighbor to the right and under the neighbor just a little bit, the next one along. Over, under. Over, under. Okay? And she's going in an anti-clockwise direction. That one might be a bit short. Just lengthen it a bit.
Just a little bit.
And so over the one to the right, under the second one to the right, over the one to the right, under the second one to the right. Let's just pause and look at what you've done so far. Okay, so do you see how it looks when it's finished? Okay, so let's continue going on.
The reeds are all holding
each other. Okay, they just have to be longer to make a good connection under the reed 2 to its right. Over that one, under the next one.
Now, if I had not soaked these, as soon as I start to bend them, they would just snap.
They would crack and break, yes. So they must be soaked and wet when you do this. Alright, not too many more. The last one's the tricky one. But there you are, over and under. Here's the second last one. Over and under, just pull that a bit, and here we go. Now what do you do here, Miss Linda?
Well, that's where that one would go anyway.
Yeah.
Now this one,
you got to go over and poke it underneath.
This is where this little tool.
And here's one of the tools in the toolkit. We're using it as an awl to kind of poke that through there.
And then I can pull these back from there.
Okay.
Now we have one that's just a little longer there.
Well, do you have to go under that?
No.
No? Alright, here's another tool from the toolkit that Miss Linda's using, but you can use scissors for this. You don't have to purchase the toolkit. We're just cutting that one off, and let's see how it finished up. Alright, so all of those now are woven on the bottom, and the bottom is complete.
Now we have our spokes, and we are ready to weave.
Here are the uprights for the basket, and as I said, we're going to try to make these on a little bit of an angle like that rather than vertically straight up. So now Miss Linda's getting a long reed from the water. She'll leave the remainder soaking. And how long are these pieces approximately?
You want me to measure?
Yeah.
Well, that one's already broken there. It must have got broken earlier, but we will.
Alright, well, let's measure another one when it comes out. It doesn't matter how long they are, because you do, there's a join method. Alright, so very carefully, what are you doing here, Miss Linda?
I am just going to go weave in and out.
Well, let's do the very start. You want to hold it behind one, okay? So do you see how the basket that she's weaving in her right hand? If
you're left-handed, you might like to just go around that way. Whatever is easiest for you. But seeing I'm right-handed,
so you're starting by putting it under, and then you just go over and under and over and under. And so you want to control the tension a little bit here as you're going. Over and under. So you go over the next one and under the next one. And you just keep going around like that. Over and under. It's very simple. Just got to pay attention to what you're doing. And we'll have a look when Miss Linda completes the first round, which she has now.
And with this hand,
she's using her left fingers to push them right down onto the base board. Okay, so this is what it looks like, just with one row or one round of basket. Now, the holes in the basket are an odd number, so that if you went under the reed in the previous round, now you'll be going over it. Let's just pause and see that. See, the one prior to it went under, and this one goes over here. The first one went under, and this one goes over. The first one went over, this one goes under, the second round. So it's the opposite to what you did in the first round.
This is called basket weave.
Now you remember that we're going to work our way outwards a little bit, and not a vertical stem, and so you're paying attention right here at the very beginning, allowing this second row just to be slightly looser so that it starts to come out on a slight angle. Okay, but where you went under the reed earlier, now you're going over it.
Now we've done another row.
There's a row. Let's just take a look side on so that we can see the under over pattern. Turn it around. Thank you. See that? Over and under. And now, of course, the third row is going to be doing what the first row did. So you just keep going round, and that's done by having an odd number of holes in the base. So if you're ever making a base yourself, just remember that.
And try and keep your reeds straight up and down, which is very easy to do. You just, as you go around, just straighten things as you go.
Remember you're coming out though. And then make an angle in the sides. Alright. There we go. So it's going to have to be a little looser in the third row round and the second row round, so that you start to come out on a bit of an angle. And you're using your left hand here, if you're right-handed, the left hand fingers, to adjust the angle on these uprights.
Well, it's also pushing the reed
down on top of it. So you want a close weave. You don't want these things, just let me open that up. You don't want to end up with a basket like this with an open weave. You've got to push that down tight with your fingers onto the one below it.
So you don't want a basket that looks
open.
Yeah.
Open weave.
Open like that.
No. So that's where these fingers keep it pressed down tight, while allowing the side to come out towards you a little bit, because we don't want to go straight up, we want to come outwards. And what might we use this basket for? Well, at the end of the day, this might make a nice little basket for serving bread rolls at the dinner table. Or what else could this be used for, Miss Linda?
Now if you are a girl, or if you have a sister, perhaps she would keep her hair ties perhaps in them. Perhaps she has a nail polish collection, maybe she could put those in them. Maybe if you have some small toys, I'm thinking of perhaps Lego, but usually Lego's in a much bigger quantity, but something small that you could just quickly pop them in the basket, and there you've got everything all together.
So there's really just as many different applications for this basket as you can think of. You might even use it for storing small pieces of fruit, apricots or cherries, something like that. Of course, you wouldn't want the cherry juice to stain the basket though, so just be careful there. Alright,
I've got two there. Don't want two.
So we're continuing just to go round and round and round. We might do another row, and then we'll take a little pause while Miss Linda does many other rows.
Well, if we wait till we get to the end of this, because then we will have to join in another reed.
That's an idea.
And you need to know how to be able to do that.
Alright. So check your weave as you go. You don't want to go over two in a row and under the next one, because you'll see that won't be basket weave anymore. That will make a very unusual pattern. Alright, over and under. It's very simple. And how tight you pull it and how much you push it down is all to be learned as you're learning to do this, because that's really what turns a basket into a good one or one that's not quite so good. Alright, so Miss Linda's checking the angle that she's coming out at as she does this. Over and under. So anybody can do this. It's very, very simple. Might look difficult, but it is not. Simply a matter of just going over the next one to your right and under the one after that, and over the one after that, and under the one after that. Alright, so we're getting close to the end of this piece of reed, and just before we pause the video to be able to do a lot more of the side, just repeating this over and over, we'll show you how what happens when you run out, when one reed comes to an end and you begin the next reed. And you want to make sure that you finish a reed while it's damp, while it's wet. If you're going to take a break overnight or something, then finish the reed that you're doing while it's wet, and then it'll dry out, of course, overnight. And the next day you'll have to start with you'll have to re-wet the upright reeds.
And if you do that, whoops, see now look, I have made a mistake here. I wasn't watching what I was doing, and I have gone
over two.
So I wasn't really paying enough attention. So
oh, well, that's a good thing, because the others now watching the video can see that that's easy to do if you aren't concentrating, and it doesn't look like a basker's weave anymore. And so you go back, unwind to where you made your mistake, and then continue on again. But this is not possible to do if your reeds are not damp. Alright, we're coming to the end of this one. We continue and put it.
So I think we'll have to do it on this one. Now what we do is that I'm going to just cut it a little bit, because what we do is we push it down.
So
in there.
Well,
but I need to. But this is too long. And yet, if I go around
another one, it's too short.
Oh no, actually, it just might be just perfect.
Think it might?
I do.
All right. So let's explain this before you complete it. We're going to push the completed reed down through a channel that is made. Let me show the channels. Well, see, there's a channel that goes down that reed, and every one you're going to push your piece of end piece of the reed that you've completed weaving down into one of these channels, and so you've got to have the right length to be able to push it down. Right now we don't have too much of a side made, so it's short. It's going to have to be short enough to be able to push down there. Okay, thanks, Miss Linda. So you see she's pushing it down into a channel, and it wants to be tight when you push it down there. If it's too long, you need to pull it out again and cut a piece off so that it's nice and tightly pushed down in there. And I might have used a pair of needle nose pliers or something to do that, but you can
that might be just
a little bit long. So we're going to cut a bit off and go down in the channel before that. So again, you just have to figure out which channel you're going to use, cut the end piece to the right length, push it down so that you still have a nice tight piece of weave just prior to the finish. Alright, so there it is. Let's have a good look at that. Where's that end piece? There, it goes down into that channel, you see? And when we weave over the top of here, we'll be able to pull that down again. And so how do we start the next reed, Miss Linda?
Well,
where do you start it? And how do you start it?
Where was the... there.
Right there, yeah.
Right, well, I'm going to go into the other side of that.
So where we finished, down the channel of here was the finish with the last piece, you see. Now she's coming over onto the other side of the stem and starting again by pushing down the channel on the other side of the upright. Alright, and then starts to weave under, because the last one went over, so now she's got to go under. And now it's under, over, under, over, under, over, all the way to the end of this reed, and then repeat what you just did. Put it down a channel and start a new one down the channel as well, but on the opposite side of the upright reed. I hope that was clear to you.
Then we're back to where we had joined.
Alright, so we've come back to the join, and well, you can see it if you look very closely there, but you want to use the reed now to push down solidly on that finish, so at the end of the day you don't see it very prominently. Alright, so I'm going to let Miss Linda finish weaving this reed. So Miss Linda's continuing to build out the sides of this basket. Can you show us the depth of it now? Alright, so it's getting close to what we'd like to have our finished basket size. So we're thinking that this would possibly be the last reed that is woven into this basket. And the uprights that she's weaving around here have dried out during the making of the basket, and so in a moment when she's finished weaving this reed in, Miss Linda's going to put those tips that are sticking up back in the water to wet them before she finishes the basket. Okay, so they must be damp when you actually try to weave them. Okay, so we're about to finish this reed here, and now just explain what you're doing here. You're putting an angle cut onto this.
Well, I'm going to cut this because it's a little long, but not long enough to go in there. But instead of just cutting it square, I'm going to cut it on a little bit of an angle, which actually makes it easier to poke down.
It has a point on it, more of a point, which makes it easier to push down. So whenever you cut the reeds, cut them on an angle, not at 90 degrees to the length of the reed. Maybe on a 45-degree angle. You'll have a sharper edge that's easier to push down. Alright, so there's the finish of the weaving. Now you can see a different color there where the bottom ones have dried out and the top ones are wetter, but these uprights here have dried out, and they need to be dampened in order to finish the top of the basket. Now there is one thing that you might want to check. Is it okay to have that reed sort of bent like that, Miss Linda, in the middle? It's preferable if we can keep these reeds fairly vertical as they come up. So that's one of the things that you should watch as you're learning to do this. If we look sideways on at these uprights, they should all be fairly straight through the basket. Okay, and just make them as straight as you can when you're weaving. So there's the bottom done. We showed you that, and then we started the weave and we've made it come out on an angle. And then we went up to finish on a lesser angle, and now I think this will be a very nice little basket for putting bread rolls in on our table when we have visitors. Now, how do we finish? So you're going to soak those. How will you do that?
But I'm going to turn it upside down like this because I do not want the base to get wet, and I'm really only just doing this much.
Show us again. So we just want to wet the area that's going to be folded over, which is right at the top of the basket. So we'll probably add a little bit more water to the sink and then stand it in there upside down like that, and run the water up to the level we're finished with those reeds, they can come out. We will let the water fill up to the level of the top of the weave there, so that those get good and soaked. How long do you think it'll take to wet them again, Miss Linda?
Not very long, probably only about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes.
They're not totally dried out.
So it's going to take 5 minutes to fill the sink and another 5 minutes to soak the end of those. So I'll stop the video here and come back in about 10 minutes again. And so we are back again, and now we're going to show you how to finish this basket. So we'll take it out, having re-soaked the uprights to the level of the finish of the wall of the weave. Okay, so first Miss Linda's going to, well, slow down and show them that again, please. Alright, so
Right. We're going to take this spoke,
pull those two up, start again from the beginning. Pull those two up. Alright, so you take your first upright spoke, and it goes around the behind the one to its right, if you are right-handed, and then in front. Alright, now take the next one, go behind, and then in front. Alright, the next one, behind, and then in front. And you keep going, turn the basket. So that's right. Keep going like that. Behind and in front. Behind and in front. And just a note here, you want this to sit on the top of the weave here. This
if it's a
piece.
little long, we'll cut it off afterwards.
Behind and in front, pull that over, yes, turn it around like that, so you can see. Go behind and in front, behind and in front of the next one. Let's put that up a bit, that one's underneath.
Oh, well, we'll...
Yeah, put up on top. Alright, behind there and in front. Keep going. Just see if I can get it side on so you can watch it. Go behind and then in front of the next one. Take the next spoke. Go behind the one to its right and in front of the other one. Now we're coming to the end where you've got to feed things through. Come behind this one, and now you have to poke it down in front of the one. It's not quite long enough on this case, is it?
Nope, it's not. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat a little bit here.
And then poke that down in the ridge. Okay. Alright, and then the last one, it would go behind this one here.
No, it's this way. And then through there.
Alright, show us how you finished again. That looked confusing.
Well, you came behind here and then in front of the next
No,
one.
the last one, please.
Well, that one.
Take it out. Okay, there's the last upright sticking up. Now what are you going to do with that one?
Well, it normally would go, this one would be sticking up here.
Yes.
So I go behind it.
Behind that and poke it through there, and now it's in front of
The next one.
the next one there. Alright, and there's the finished product. Do you have to do any trimming before it dries out? Because once it dries out, these things will stay in their shape.
Here's one that's a little long, so we'll just trim him back a little bit.
Alright, so you can see the ends here, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there. Can you see the ends of the upright rods as they've been finished off? And now the trick is now to leave it to dry, and when it dries they become set in these positions, and they're not likely to come out again. Alright, so there's the finished basket, and that will make a nice basket for many things. We have in mind for this one for serving bread rolls or chips, and for chips and salsa or anything like that at during occasions when people come over for a meal or come over to watch a football game or whatever it is that you do when you're entertaining. And as I say, just let it dry now and everything will set pretty well in its position, and the only way that you'll be able to move it after that is to wet it again. So there's another basket that we can add to those that we had already created before, and the instructions for each of these are on the website that we're going to put up here for you to purchase this. Well, you can purchase it from Amazon, but the kit comes in a box like this, you'll see, with lots of reeds in it, and different types of reeds. We've used all the wide ones, we just have the cylindrical ones left. The wide ones were used, for example, in this basket. You can see the uprights are wider, and also in this basket they're a different type of reed. The only one that's well, there's not a round one in here. This is a flat one that goes around the top here, and these are all wide ones. Same with this basket here, and a special handle that comes in the kit also. So start out with a kit like this, and then there are all kinds of other baskets that are larger that you will be able to make for sale, and we encourage you to do this and be able to sell them and make a little money and start your entrepreneurial work young, and remember to save 10%. Well, we thank you very much for watching this video today that comes to you from the Freedom and Virtue Institute and from Linda and Mark Wardell. Please go to our website at fvinstitute.org, and you'll be able to find cooking videos and other arts and crafts videos. The next one we make will probably be to make beeswax candles, so look out for that one. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your basket weaving and all of your